Welcome to this explainer. Today we're diving into something really fascinating. We're unpacking the brilliant literary structure of one of history's absolute most foundational texts, which is the first chapter of Genesis. But, we aren't just going to sit here and read ancient poetry. We're actually exploring how modern digital platforms have taken this thousands of years old data and made it instantly accessible to the entire globe. We have to start right at the source with this incredibly iconic opening line from the King James Version of Genesis chapter 1. In the beginning. It's a poetic verse that instantly sets the stage for this grand, mythic narrative of creation. This is a sentence that has been studied, debated, and memorized for centuries. It is literally the ultimate establishing shot. There's no preamble, just an immediate, bold statement of cosmic origin. But before we get into analyzing the actual architecture of the ancient verses themselves, I want you to consider something uniquely modern. This exact text, this story of origins, is currently hosted on digital platforms like Bible Gateway in over 80 different languages. It's not just some dusty manuscript sitting in a museum, it's a living, actively translated piece of global data. Section 1. A multitude of translations, global reach of an ancient text. Just look at the sheer volume of UI data required to host this whole operation. We're talking translations ranging from Amuzgo de Guerrero, which is an indigenous language in Mexico, all the way to Cherokee, Icelandic, Swahili, and Yoruba. We have built a massive digital infrastructure entirely dedicated to sharing these ancient words. Anyone with a smartphone can access this creation narrative in their native tongue in a matter of milliseconds. The logistical feat of that is simply mind-blowing. All right, Section 2. Forming the formless void. The first 3 days. Jumping back into the King James text, verse 2 describes the earth as without form and void. Now, the Hebrew concept here conveys this state of dark, chaotic, and totally unstructured emptiness over deep waters. It establishes a chaotic canvas that is just desperately waiting for order. You see, the text really wants us to feel the weight of this nothingness so we can fully appreciate the structure that's about to be built over the next 6 days. So the absolutely crucial point here is how the text meticulously maps out the first 3 days as a process of forming spaces. It's honestly an architectural masterclass. Day 1 separates light from darkness. Day 2 creates a firmament to separate the sky from the waters below. And then Day 3 pulls the dry land up from the seas and introduces vegetation. Notice how we're moving from the cosmic scale down to the terrestrial. It's like building the rooms of a house, making sure each space is perfectly formed and separated. And as you read through these steps, I really want you to notice the poetic, rhythmic cadence of the text. Every single act of forming concludes with this exact, repeating refrain, and the evening and the morning were the first day, then the second and the third. It acts exactly like a metronome, giving the reader a real sense of divine order and pacing. It takes what could just be a list of events and turns it into a literary song.
Which brings us to Section 3, Filling Heavens and Earth, days 4 through 6.
Now, this is where the genius of the text really shines through, brilliantly illustrating what we call the forming versus filling framework. Check out the perfect symmetry here. Day 1 forms the light, right? Well, Day 4 fills it with the sun, moon, and stars. Day 2 forms the sky and waters, and boom, Day 5 fills them with birds and fish. Day 3 forms the dry land, and Day 6 fills it with life. It's not just a random sequence. It is a highly intentional, elegantly designed matrix of creation. Moving on to Section 4, the crown of creation, the culmination of the 6th day. Down in verse 26, the text introduces this sudden, very distinctive shift in its voice. Up until now, the command has always been, let there be. But right here, it changes to the plural and collaborative. Let us make man in our image, after our likeness. That grammatical shift is huge. It highlights the creation of humanity as the definitive masterpiece, essentially the final keystone of the entire process. Fascinatingly, the text ties humanity's role directly back into all those spaces formed over the previous 5 days. It outlines a very specific hierarchy where humanity is tasked to govern the fish of the waters, the fowl of the sky, and the cattle of the dry land. So it basically wraps the entire 6-day framework into one unified ecosystem, with humans stepping in to act as the stewards. And then, completely breaking the rhythmic pattern of simply calling things good, like we saw on the previous days, the end of the 6th day declares the entire completed interconnected system to be very good. The structure is officially finished. The house is built, it's filled, and it's occupied. Section 5. Modern Tools for Ancient Texts, Studying Genesis Today. To truly grasp the depths of all this, platforms like Bible Gateway don't just host the text, they surround this single chapter with a vast arsenal of structured study tools. Users instantly get access to study Bibles, historical encyclopedias, dense commentaries, specialized dictionaries, and geographic maps. This allows any user today to move seamlessly from reading an ancient mythos to conducting really dense analytical research without ever even leaving their browser. It's honestly a beautiful juxtaposition. A focused learner today can cross-reference the ancient King James poetry with dozens of heavy academic resources instantly. You can go from wondering what the Hebrew word for firmament means, straight over to Mounce's complete expository dictionary, and then read Matthew Henry's centuries-old commentary on the passage, all in a matter of clicks. We have successfully digitized and categorized thousands of years of human thought regarding a single chapter of text. It's a pretty monumental achievement in preserving and exploring knowledge.
So, I'm going to leave you to ponder this one question. As our digital tools for access and analysis continue to evolve, what new layers of meaning are tomorrow's scholars going to uncover in the beginning of all things? I mean, will AI reveal symmetries in the text that we've somehow missed for centuries? The poetry is ancient for sure, but our conversation with it is really just beginning. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer.